Hey, this is accountability. You know what I need you to do? You need to go ahead and like. I need you to go ahead and subscribe. I need you to go ahead and turn on those notifications. And I need you to go ahead and share so we can build this community. Now, that being stated, right now, I'm going to probably start dropping just videos after videos. Because right now, I'm there. I'm at that turning point. I'm getting up now, doing my exercises without somebody needing to motivate me. I expressed in the last video that I'm being driven by anger. Now, I want you to understand something. You can take any emotion, sadness, anger, whatever it is, and you can use it to be a fuel for you so that you can go out there and accomplish what you need to accomplish. Because remember, we are accountable unto ourselves, and the lives that we have ought not be anything that we should not be settling for anything less than we deserve. And at the same time, not only are we accountable to ourselves, but we're accountable to those around us. And in order to be accountable, we need to be in the best possible location. And so right now, if you're in this place and you're sad or you're angry or whatever it is, take it and use that as motivation when you can't find anything else. When the support group is falling apart, when the people that you love seem to be not on the same level with you in their love and affection and their commitment to you. Whatever the case may be, find something. And I know, a few months back when I started this, that was not where I was at. But I don't know what happened. That anger got fueled the other day, and I realized something. I couldn't let that anger just grow and grow. I had to start taking it, because everything you have, whether it's sadness, anger, whatever, that's a form of energy. I mean, anybody who's been depressed, all the energy's zapped out of them because you don't understand depression, man. Wow. It's a force within itself. It is an energy force, and that's why it takes everything out of you. And it can suck the life and all the energy out of the room. It's an energy eater. Well, eating is a form of energy, isn't it? Well, yeah. So depression will suck the life out of you and everybody else around you. Okay? And you need to understand that energy is constant. I don't know that much about science and physics and all those things, you know. Those are not my strong points. But I do understand that energy is constant. And it's everywhere. And so you're going to have to take that energy and channel it. And whatever energy is flowing through you right now, sadness, hatred, whatever, you got to turn that on its head and spin it back to something where it's becoming productive. It's a source of, how should we say, fuel for you. For me, like I said, I had to catch a hold of that anger, take it, because I hadn't had any energy source in a while I was really driving me, and I needed to get a hold of it before it became hatred, because that could be very destructive. So now I'm taking this anger and I'm turning it into productivity, and that's the reason we're making these videos right now. But that being stated, really what I wanted to speak about, just picking up off that from the last video, moving forward in this one, I want us to think about this today. I was listening. I've been listening a lot more to people that have been successful in all aspects of life, okay? I'll put it this way. My dad, for example, spent his whole life working hard. That's what everybody knew him for. He was a legend in his field because of his success. Has been put in a couple of Hall of Fames for his field. No one knew, including myself and my sibling, how much his net value was until after he died. He was worth a lot more than I ever realized. It's because he had a system, though. He lived by a system. He conducted his life by a system. He conducted his business matters, by a system. And that's one. That's key. I've been learning this and listening, and I started reflecting on people I know are successful, and that's true. They have systems. Okay. I also found and thought, I heard one today, and it's not a philosophy that I have never bought into. I just have never really, when thinking about it, I guess I allowed the outside forces to convince me otherwise. Let's put it this way. Let's go back to my dad as an example. He did walk within the boundaries of society to a large degree, but he also knew when to push and step outside of those boundaries, or really, I don't think he ever stepped outside as much as he redefined them. And that goes back to what we were talking about. You got to read the room so you can lead the room. And that's what I was speaking of in the last video. From here forward, I am defining all relationships. I have decided if I ever work for anybody else other than myself, I'm no longer going on interviews. They're going to be interviewed by me. I know my worth. I know what I can bring to the table. I want to know what they're bringing to my life. So even, okay, I'll sit down with an interview with you. We can sit, we can shake hands. They're going to start trying, oh, what are you doing? What do you mean what I'm doing? Starting an interview. Oh, no, there is an interview going to be conducted today. I'm going to see whether you can contribute to my life. I know what I'm going to, here's what I'm going to do for you. There it is. I've told you, okay? Now, let me see what you're going to do for me. And I know that sounds obnoxious, that sounds arrogant. There are going to be a lot of people, if I decide to go looking for a job, they're going to turn me down. They're going to tell me, get out of the office. Eventually, one of them is going to be wise enough to go, wait a second, this is the guy I've been looking for. I used to be that guy. I forgot about that guy. I'm getting back to that guy. You, at one point, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you think about your best moments or best hours of your life before you got to this point. You had that moment. I don't care if it was back when you were in high school and you were the starting quarterback. You led the room. You led a team. How did you do that? That was by the fact that first and foremost, you were confident. You knew with all certainty you could do that. So you don't need that. You got to bring that back into the picture. But the other aspect I was talking about is about redefining boundaries. Let me get back to that. I know I kind of go off on rabbit holes. Please forgive me when I do that. But certain other little points need to be brought in. You have to be confident to lead a room, and you have to be even more confident to redefine the direction that things are going. Here's an example. I was in, and don't get me wrong, what I'm going to tell you is this, that there are times in your life, and I listened to this multi-millionaire just speaking about this. And there is, and I've thought this, and I've practiced this, and I've reflected on it, and he's right. There are going to be times that everybody you know, closest to you, love you the most, that are going to sell you philosophies and beliefs that are adopted in society that you need to question. Because some of them are set up and they've been proven, and I understand that. But even those can be questioned from time to time. But they're proven, they're accepted norms that for a reason they work. But if somebody sits here and tells you, like, well, you're not pretty enough to be an actress, or you're not talented enough to be this or that, or you're too fat to do this. You look in history and you look at all the people that have accomplished certain things that didn't fit into that mold. I'm just saying, some of this, you got to keep in mind, some of these standards in which they're trying to say you fit in this model or not, that's all based on opinion. It's all based on the eye of the beholder. Like, for example, I'm going to give you an example of someone that I didn't ever feel was attractive as an actress. Even in her youth, she wasn't really that attractive. But she was an outstanding actress. Bette Davis is a prime example for me. You want to talk about somebody who's super morbidly obese, or you can't be accepted in society. And kudos to him because he's lost 100 pounds. I think I brought him over here recently. And I'm just starting to really learn about him. plus not to mention his background, his history, what he went through, where he came from. Oh, you're not supposed to become successful in life like he has now. Jelly Roll. Yes, he had talent, I get that. But a lot of the times, people will stop looking at your talent if you have certain aspects of your life. But you know why they do that? Because you let them. You accept the fact that they're going to say you're not worthy of this. You're not worthy of being loved. You're not worthy of being accomplished. You're not worthy of being, an influence in a community. You define who you are. You define your worth, and you let the rest of the world see that. That's where we're at now. We've went as low as anybody can get right now. Where we're at right now, when we came together in this community, you can't get any lower. You've been balled up on the floor. You hear what I'm saying? Balled up on the floor because you're so miserable, you're so lonely, you're so broken. Get your tail end up off that floor. That's what everybody been telling you. And you couldn't seem to do it. But inside, there was a part of you wanted to get up off that floor. And there's been a lot of things said over the last several months on this journey to you. People trying to preach to you, people trying to spark you by angering you or whatever. I'm going to go back to my college professor who is my mentor. I got what they were trying to do. It in itself didn't initially work, but when I reflect in the last couple of days, when some things really came along and truly made me angry, not her words, but some real things of people's behavior, it reminded me how I can take anger and use it as a fuel. And that's what I'm doing. And boy, we're taking some steps now. Now the key is not to be derailed. Well, part of what can derail me always is people like, oh, that wasn't going to work. That's not going to work. It derails a lot of us. Question. Redefine. Do more than question. You're going to have to redefine. If you're going to get to the point that you question, that you're going to look and say, look, I know that me being this weight or me not being this attractive does not take away from the talent I have, or maybe I'm not as talented as someone else. But I can still make it with what talent I have. That attitude right there is going to propel you forward. That attitude somebody's going to recognize and help you find that avenue and give you that support you need to take the step to the next level. I know, because I've seen it, I've done it. Here's an example. I've forgotten that I was capable of doing it too, though. So don't. Remember, right now we're remembering that we're capable of that. I know this is a small example, but when I was in college, I was going through one of these periods where definitely I was defiant, not trying to walk with norms, and I'm not going to lie, to some degree, my attitude was half, as we say here in the States, half-assed about my approach to anything. And so it caused a rift, even though I was on some level contributing and some aspect trying to be focused. It wasn't enough that everybody saw it that way, and there were those that did not get along with me, nor did I with them, to take responsibility, be accountable. And so the end result was a rift was caused and lines were drawn, and I stood on one side and the majority stood on the other side, and it caused me to be removed from certain organizations and such when I was in college. Well, we got that had enough of an effect that I left college for a semester. Even when I came back, enough time had passed that one of those organizations that I had been removed from had fallen apart. And it came down to they had 2 members. And the 2 members were speaking, what are we going to do to save this organization? And the one that was been part of the organization longer stated, I know what we're going to have to do. And he knew it, and I think he knew he was going to get pushback against it, but it would be allowed to happen. And sure enough, he went on and he and the other gentleman decided to reach out to me. Before they did that, they went to the advisor and the honorary member, both, who were of the college staff. They're in the department, and they both were against them bringing me back into the fold, but told them it was their choosing. And since, even though I had been removed, I was the only one who had gone through the rights and had the requirements to be a member, they basically brought me back in. The first thing I did was I read the room. I realized they were desperate. They were already handing me the keys to the convertible that I was going to get to drive. And I kept that in mind. And so I drove that vehicle. I did that by redeveloping our Constitution and amending amendments and removing others. And there were times that they contributed and stood against what I wanted to do, and I was like, okay, we'll find a compromise. And then there were others like, hey, no, you brought me here, this is what we're doing, period. So even when you're going to lead in the room, remember this: there are going to be times that you need to, you should always be seeking out guidance and advice, suggestions. Sometimes you're going to have to, because you're leading, sometimes you're going to have to just put your foot down and say, no, that's not the direction we're going. Now, we discuss all that to this, to bring it back to this. Seems like I'm talking about business aspect. Success that can come out of that. By the way, the organization was restored and is still going to this day. That chapter was not lost. At one point, my mentor even admitted to me, Thurman, that'll be your baby. Yep, that's my baby. Ain't nobody can take that away from me. Those members don't realize, the new ones, they don't know who I am. I don't care. The fact that it's there lets me know that I reestablished something, because I know that the Constitution is what they're established on, what they're built upon. That's the foundation. Who rewrote that? Me. I'm not trying to be braggadocious, I'm trying to make a point. I'm trying to inspire you to remember you can take the lead. You can be the determining factor. And you must be in your life and in your relationships, and you check this out, in your success. And I had forgotten that. I had gradually let people take that away from me. I want you to listen. I had gradually let people. I gave them permission. Wasn't like I said, oh, please come take something away from me. No, but when they started to, I didn't say no. I went from being the guy that was always questioning and redefining the direction to being the guy that when he got bucked back, kind of like, okay, I guess you're right. And the end result was bad for me, and usually all for all those involved. I'm not trying to create bullies. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm telling you. But I am trying to tell you that people are successful, like my father, many other people I can mention in my life that I've known, like Coach Houston and such, because once they had set forth the plan, the system that they were going to use, they stuck to that, and when anybody questioned it, they defended it and continued on it. And sometimes even when authority figures, because even everybody has somebody to answer to. It might be your wife, your children. That's part of being accountable. Might be the congregation where you worship or who you worship with. The point is, no matter what it is, you're always going to be accountable to somebody. Yet even when you're accountable to them, you have to understand that you've been put in that position to do a job. And I'm talking about even your position in life, like a husband, a father, a best friend. The only person who is working that job, that particular job, is you. You can ask the client, those you are serving, what they need. But ultimately, you have to put in place the system that fulfills those needs, and you have to determine how that's going to happen. That may be questioned from time to time. But it's like I said, I know how I'm going to serve everybody. I can go into a room and tell this company this is how I'm going to serve them. Now, I need to know what it is. You told me what you needed. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to serve you. Now, I'm going to tell you the system I'm going to put in place, and I'm going to define how we're going to go about this. That's the way it has to be. Otherwise, you're going to be right back here. I don't care what it is. Everything you look at from here forward is a job of some sort. My mama told me nothing in life is worth having if you didn't have to work for it. And I can tell you that's truth. I'm looking around me right now, and this room that has became my prison because I wasn't working anymore. Because I was so downtrodden, and I let myself get to a point that was the only way I could work anymore was with this thing, which is the best thing to have. Charles Krauthammer was paralyzed from the neck down, spent the rest of his life using this thing to influence people. So I still got this, and you do too. And that's our number one tool. You can see it as a weapon. If you wield it that way, that's what it's going to be. But ultimately, it's a tool. As Shane says in the movie Shane, the character Shane Allen Ladd states, "Ma'am, a gun is a tool. It's no worse or better than the man using it." And there it is. We all have this still at this moment. Don't let go of it anymore. You remember, this is your number one asset, your number one tool. Get control of your life again. Whatever this is putting out right now, don't let it control you. If it's anger, make sure it does not turn into hatred. Take it and use it as fuel. If it's sadness, make sure it doesn't turn into depression to the point you land on the floor again. Get up. Use that fuel as your motivation and become who you were again. You can do it. That's why we're all here for one another. So, this is accountability. Like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and share. We'll see you next time.